But then the second condition is complacency. Complacency within the church deteriorates the spiritual temperature of individual members to the point that they are useless. I know that's a long one, but complacency in the church is a collective, but if complacency happens within the body, then it deteriorates the individual member's temperature. Right? Think about that. And see what Jesus says here in verse 15 and 16. I know thy works. And here's it is. Most in all the other letters, Jesus says this, and then he gives them a commendation. He says, hey, I know your works. This is what you're doing good. And then he goes to his rebuke. Laodicea, on the other hand, this has no commendation to it. I know your works, and right into the judgment, right? Imagine getting this letter from Jesus. I mean, just imagine that. But the sad reality is when we go in the closing, you'll see that church today is much like this. There's a lot of churches out there like that right now. Right? Jesus said, I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would that thou wert cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. Oh my goodness. Now that's a bold statement from Jesus right there. Right? What about, hold on, I thought Jesus was just accepting and loving of everything. Here's the thing about love, though, friend. Love is telling the truth. That's the thing. Don't believe the lie in the culture right now that they're trying to say love is love. Right? We need to define love the way God defines it. That's what we need to do. We need to define love the way God defines love. That's what we need to do. And here's what he says. Complacency breeds carelessness. He says, I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would that thou wert cold or hot. So then, because you are lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I'll spew thee out of your mouth. So now we're going to get into the geography of Laodicea. Laodicea was in a Lycus River valley. The Lycus River was very dirty, muddy. It didn't produce any good water. And even today, if you go to Laodicea, you can see the stone aqueducts that they used to pipe in water, right? You had the mineral water from Hierapolis in the north, the hot springs. And then in the east, you had Colossae that had the cool water that brought it in from the east. And this is the two waters. By the time the water got to Laodicea, though, it was lukewarm. It was putrid. It was kind of like that milk we were talking about a minute ago. It was chalky from the minerals that were in the pipes, right? It wasn't good for drinking whatsoever. Jesus is saying right here, because you are lukewarm. Now notice, Jesus is not saying that to be either cold or hot is beneficial more than the other. Some churches will get in the danger of trying to over-allegorize things and say, well, hot means this and cold means this. I think we just need to preach the Word of God. Just let the Word of God say what it says. Jesus says, I wish you were hot or cold, because both of them are beneficial to a person. Right? The hot waters, the hot mineral waters brought healing, and the cool, refreshing waters, that's what they did. They refreshed the spirits of those. They revived others. But Jesus says that by the time it gets here, you are like your water supply. You're neither cold nor hot. You're disgusting. And this is what I believe it's going on, is that the Laodiceans were hypocrites. Notice Jesus says first, I know thy works. Their works were neither hot nor cold, meaning what? Meaning that their works were done half-heartedly. It were done in the power of the flesh, not in the power of the Spirit. I don't know what you're dealing with today, friends, but if you're trying to get through it and only use the power of your flesh, you will fail. That's it. You will fail. And I'm telling you, I'm speaking from experience. I'm guilty of it, right? That I've tried to power through some things, and guess what? I ended up failing through it. And guess what? God will let you do that. God is a gentleman. He's not going to force himself on any of us. But then he allows us to make these mistakes so that we will be benefited from it. You're neither cold nor hot. So we need to avoid complacency that lowers the temperature of individual members to the point where they're useless. Lukewarm water is useless, and it's not good for anything. And Jesus says, I will spew thee out of thy mouth. This is where we see the very first action or example of Jesus' words in the Sermon on the Mount. Jesus said in Matthew 7:21, he says, not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he